Hello everyone! I've already showed you how to make cowl neck tops and blouses. Now I want to tell you about peculiarities of making cowl neck patterns for knitted fabric items. This is the piece of fabric I'm going to make a top of. This is very stylish knitted fabric. This is my basic pattern. It was made using my 10 measurement cutting system. I've already traced it to the piece of tracing paper. Now we can start adjusting this pattern into the one for the cowl neck design. I'll tell you what you should pay attention to when making such items of knitted fabric. I remind you that we've already made such top of silk. Those who haven't watched the video on how to make cowl neck silk top and blouses, do it. I show you some very important techniques in the video. I've already told you that it's very convenient to work with a perfect basic pattern. By the way, in the video about cowl neck design, I've also told you about armholes. These two things are not connected, but I just like to tell you some useful things if they come to my mind while working. Notice that I've cut the chest dart, but I ignore the shoulder one. We don't need shoulder darts when we make items of knitted fabric. The thing is that the shoulders should match. Have a look at the table. This is the back, and this is the front. First, I need to move the chest dart to the center front. After that, I can move on to the shoulders and neckline. I need to stick this dart with the duct tape. I've decided to have a look at some books to see what they write about cowl neck design. I was like, oh my god. I would never manage to make it this way. I like simple techniques. Now I'll show you how to measure the neckline. Using this technique, you'll find where the first line of the cowl neck will be. Measure it wherever you want. Some people like deep necklines, and some don't. I know that my perfect neckline is 29 cm deep from the shoulder. I don't make deeper necklines. I cut 5 cm of the back neckline. You can cut as much as you want. I ignore the dart. The shoulders will be 7 cm wide. Remember that we shouldn't cut anything here. Be very careful. I won't cut this part because I'm going to raise this point. Let's match the shoulders to see if they're even. This is how the shoulder should look like. I think that you already know that I like narrow shoulders. The pattern is ready. This is the very first time I break the center back seam rule. I don't want to cut these fish. I add 3 cm to the bottom because I want to make a wider overcast. This top won't be long because I want to wear it with the skirt. Try to think out in advance what you're going to wear the items you make with. Make longer blouses for wearing with pants and shorter for skirts. This is the first time I'm breaking the center back seam rule. I don't want to cut the fish. I really like this fabric. This is the waistline. Now we can move on to the front. I need to measure 29 cm from this point to the center front. The higher you measure, the more folds you'll make. If I measure 29 cm this way, there will be almost no folds. Let's measure this distance. It's 34.5 cm. I need just 29 cm. What should I do? I'll show you how to move the opening to the chest dart. After that, I'll show you how to get rid of the dart. I remind you that I've moved the dart, and now the opening here is too big. Look what I'm doing. I continue cutting this dart. Now I can open it on the other side in such way that I have the needed distance here. 29 centimeters. In the first video about the cowl neck design, we've made a dart here. And now I'll show you how to get rid of it. Nice. I need to pin the pattern this way. Now I have a dart here. If it wasn't knitted fabric, I would have to make a dart. Those who don't have big bust, or who doesn't want to make big cowl neck, won't have this problem. The distance between the waistline and the armhole is 19 centimeters. That means that this side should be also 19 centimeters long. This is where the armhole should start. I continue working ignoring this dart. Now I need to cut the armhole and make the side seam straight. This is knitted fabric, so it stretches. Let's cut the armhole. Basically, I cut as much as I've added here. Be very attentive. You know that I like the armholes to be of the perfect form, so I need to fix it. This is how it should look like. Very nice. Now I can cut the front and the back. I put a mark on the shoulder edge and knit it for cutting. I remind you that the more folds you want to make in the cowl neckline, the higher you need to start cutting. I make a notch on the shoulder. When I cut the item, I'll take it. Remember that you don't need to add much for seams when making items of knitted fabric. Do not forget to make notches on the waistline. Have a look here. It's not enough to check if the side seams match. Of course you have to do it. We also need to check if the shoulders match. This is going to be the cowl neck. Now I'll tack the side and the shoulder seams to show you the item. You should always tack knitted fabric on a table, otherwise it would stretch. Control the whole process. Be very careful and attentive. I know that I make accurate items, so I don't even look in the mirror when I try the items on. Now I'm tacking the shoulder seams. I've already showed you how to stitch and iron knitted fabric, so I show you just designing. Have a look at me. It took me just several minutes to design, cut, and tack this stylish top. Notice that there is no seam on the center back. I didn't want to cut the fish. The top is not overcast yet. Anyway, this is not what we are talking about now. The cowl neckline is ready. Have a look at this part. There are no waves or folds here. I'm proud of this technique. The blouse fits me perfectly. This technique is suitable only for knitted fabric. This is very important.
Поэтому в бедрах я могу корректировать, может быть, я чуть-чуть здесь уберу в самих бедрах, но вот здесь самое главное, чтобы лежало все очень аккуратно. И в то же самое время, смотрите, не затянуто, да? Ничего не затянуто, свободный вот такой вот топик на лето. Ой, только у меня...
That's all for today. Be different and beautiful. Don't be afraid of interesting designs and fabrics. And don't be afraid of experiments. My name is Irina. Subscribe to my channel. Goodbye.